All right, let's bring in Democratic Congressman Tom Malinowski now of New Jersey. He serves on both the Foreign Affairs and the Homeland Security committees. And also of note, he fled communist Poland as a child with his mother. Sir, thank you so much for being with us. I'm not sure if you just heard, but the brother of the mayor of Kyiv just said that everyone survived that Mariupol theater bombing. I know we want to obviously validate that. We want to confirm it. He said, but this was luck. I wonder what your reaction is to that, and especially as you see the Russian military targeting civilians like this.
Well, thank God if that's true. But it doesn't change the fact that the Russians, unable to move forward, which is good, are just pounding away at civilian targets in these cities, hoping that somehow that gives them a stronger bargaining position, that it'll wear down the Ukrainians. It's not going to work, but it is going to kill a lot of innocent people. And it's one reason why we've got to step up our support to help the Ukrainians beat this back.
The Ukrainian government says that Ukrainian forces are performing counterstrikes against Russians. Particularly, they're doing this outside of Kyiv. Do you believe that to be true? Do you believe that to be effective? What do you know?
I think they're being very effective. Look, it's day 21 and the Russians haven't even managed to surround Kyiv. This is not the way the war was supposed to go, according to all of the experts. And they're doing well because they're brave, because they're defending their country, and also because of what we've given them. And we should not underestimate the strength of what we have already done with the weapons that we have given the Ukrainians, and more on the way. They have killed more Russians in 21 days than we lost in Afghanistan and Iraq in 20 years. That's absolutely extraordinary. And it gives me confidence that as horrible as the suffering of the Ukrainian people is right now, they are winning and the Russians are losing.
Those casualties you're talking about, do you think that ultimately leads to the downfall of Vladimir Putin?
I don't know, and I don't think we can count on that. I don't think we should base our decisions on any expectations about what the Russian people will do to Putin. What I do hope is that the Russian military will, in effect, disintegrate around Kiev, around Kharkiv, around these cities. We've seen massive casualties, as I've mentioned, among the Russian troops. There are desertions. There are Russians leaving their vehicles when the fuel runs out. At some point, there is a more realistic prospect, I would say, that this army just disintegrates and that Putin cannot sustain it anymore. Our sanctions also help in that respect. Let's not forget we have sanctioned the Russian economy back to the 1930s, and that also affects the ability of the Russian government to support these troops in the field for the long term.
We have just learned, I should mention, that President Biden is going to be speaking with Xi Jinping of China tomorrow. And this, of course, is coming as we've learned that China may be willing, may be open to helping Russia, which has requested military and economic assistance. What is your reaction to that? And what do you think that Biden should communicate to Xi?
He should communicate that if China wants to get involved with Russia here, then China is going to be subject to the same types of blocking sanctions that have devastated the Russian economy. And I don't think the Chinese will do that. We'll see. I know of several instances in which the Chinese have refused Russian requests in recent days to help, and the Chinese statements have gotten more supportive of the Ukrainians in the last few days. So I think China is aware of which way the wind is blowing here. But there are still very significant dangers ahead. I don't want to mislead anybody.
I want to ask you about something that Senator Lindsey Graham said. He has repeated his calls for Russians to assassinate Putin. And he was asked if he still stood by that earlier call. He said, yeah, I hope he'll be taken out one way or another. I don't care how they take him out. I don't care if we send him to The Hague and try him. I just want him to go. What do you think of that?
Well, I can understand the sentiment, but I don't think it's I don't think it's a wise thing for American elected officials to say, because it's the sort of thing that the Russians can play on their propaganda networks back home to whip up patriotic sentiment. At a time when Putin is struggling to do that, I don't want to give him any propaganda lifelines. Look, Putin is losing. but a defeated Putin is also a dangerous Putin. And I think we do have to be, we've got to support the Ukrainians, but do it in a careful way. I think the Russians want to bring us into this conflict. I think that may be Putin's last gambit as he sees his forces unable to move forward in Ukraine. If he can bring us in and, in effect, terrify us into believing that World War III is possible, ironically, his negotiating position from his point of view might grow stronger. And so I want to keep helping the Ukrainians close the skies, give them the anti-aircraft weapons, planes if that will help, continue to give them the anti-tank weapons that are devastating the Russian military. But I do also want us to be careful not to bring the United States unnecessarily into this conflict in a direct confrontation with Russia, because ironically, I think that would help Putin.
Sir, thank you so much. Congressman Tom Malinowski, we do appreciate your time.